All right, guys, here is a topic of conversation I didn't think was going to come up in 2022 for the Seahawks, but I think it's time we at least spend a few minutes thinking about this because, look, things are good. We're 4-3. The team is playing better than a lot of people thought. We've got some surprisingly good things going on right now, on offense especially, but the defense turning it around too. We're leading the division. We have a winning record. And things are looking kind of good. Things are looking really good long term for this team, but things are not looking bad in the short term either. And now that we're here, where we have a team that is leading the division after 7 games, a team with a winning record, we need to at least ask, should the Seattle Seahawks become trade deadline buyers? Trade deadline is next week. I think it's Tuesday next week, actually. So it's time for some teams to make some potentially tough decisions. And one of those decisions being, what side of the fence are you even going to be on in the first place? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or are you just going to hold fast? I thought that the Seahawks this year might be a little bit of a trade deadline seller. I thought it was at least on the table if they got to the trade deadline and they had some good pieces and maybe they were like, a 3-win team. Sometimes the margins between buying and selling are really thin. Literally, if we lost to the Chargers yesterday, I would be thinking differently than I am now. But now with that win, plus you see what's happening in the division, you have to be willing to switch lanes a little bit here. So don't get me wrong here. I would still be very interested in trading Sidney Jones and maybe Artie Burns because they're not playing. There's no way they're happy not playing. There's no way we're happy with them just sitting there on the bench. So it behooves us to send a guy like Sidney Jones to maybe Atlanta. Maybe Artie Burns goes somewhere as well. I'm not so sure about that one. But I absolutely still think we can move those two guys and be sellers in that regard. But that doesn't mean you don't turn around and say, okay, now how can we make this team better? Like right now. Not just in 2023 or 2024, now. You look at this list of teams. You see a bunch of teams with 1 or 2 wins. Detroit, Houston, Carolina, New Orleans, Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Vegas, and after tonight, possibly Chicago. Any of those teams, not all of them, but a decent chunk of them are probably going to look at the way things are going this season for them and go, all right, we're not going to go anywhere this year. Blow it up. Let's get some pieces out of here, and let's try again next year. Houston, obvious candidate. Carolina, basically already starting to blow it up, although they really value their assets. I don't think you're going to see a team like Vegas do it, or Jacksonville probably won't do it either. But some of these teams are going to say, okay, here's a guy in his 3rd year. We're not going to re-sign him, or 4th year, 5th year, whatever. Let's get him out of here for some draft capital so we get something out of it. And the Seahawks, being that they are a winning team right now, being that they are doing better than a lot of people expected, could take advantage of that. So let's understand what we're sitting on here in terms of our 2023 draft picks. We have 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, a 3rd-rounder, a 4th-rounder, 2 5th-rounders, and a 6th-rounder. And that abundance of draft capital gives us an opportunity to maybe add to the team now. And let me be very clear about this as well. I'm not looking to overextend myself. This is not the time to do that. We don't need to overextend ourselves right now. We need to be playing it cool. We need to be holding on to the top picks. Like, I'm not interested in dealing a 1st-round pick, and I'm really not that interested in dealing a 2nd-round pick. If the trade is that big, that significant, then I'm thinking I'd rather hold on to the pick because honestly, things are going pretty good on this team right now. It's not like we're desperate. But if you get down to that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round range, and there's a little trade you can do to make the team a little bit better right now, maybe even a little bit better beyond just this 1 year, then yeah, I think we got to at least strongly consider it. You've got the extra 5th round pick. You might be able to pull an extra 5th or 6th round pick by trading Sidney Jones. There are going to be some opportunities to recoup compensation picks for your free agents that you lose. Granted, not until 2024, but still, definitely a consideration when you're making decisions like this. So I think this is a worthy conversation point because with these picks at the top of the draft, and by the way, it looks like the Denver picks are going to be in particular really, really spicy. Right now we're poised to pick in the top 6. You have to at least wonder, could I part with one of the 5th round picks to make the team a little bit better now? And by the way, you might make the team a little bit better now, but the piece that you get could end up being a long-term solution here. Could at least end up providing some value in the years going forward. Some of these guys you're going to be able to get, they're still on their rookie deals. You're going to get at least a little bit of time with them on a cheap deal. Some of these guys are just, they don't fit at their current team. They don't fit where they are right now, and they just need a change of scenery and a new opportunity. That's kind of what happened to Sidney Jones, right? And you got him for a 6th round pick last year, so make another Sidney Jones, make another Quandre Diggs. Looking at the Seahawks depth chart right now, you've got 2 running backs who are active right now who can actually play. Tony Jones has not seen the field since he got here. Travis Homer's coming back from IR. Do you want to add another passable running back? Or do you just go out and get Alex Collins for no draft picks and call it good? Wide receiver. DK Metcalf injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but he's probably going to miss at least a game or 2. Lockett fighting through some stuff. Penny Hart injured. D. Eskridge not really developing. Maybe you need another receiver. Maybe you need another passable receiver. Somebody who can play 30, 35 snaps a game and not be completely lost. Possibly. Interior offensive line. Gabe Jackson's injured. Phil Haynes got a concussion in this last game. Maybe you need to add a little bit of help on the interior of this offensive line here. Some guard depth in particular. Right now, things in there, the guys are playing well individually, relatively speaking. But in terms of an injury possibilities, it's a little bit shaky. Maybe you want to add a little bit of guard depth in there. Maybe you can beef up the defensive line a little bit, although I'm not upset with the way they're playing right now. You could look to add another edge rusher, but really, when it comes to this defensive front 7, I'm trying to replace Cody Barton in particular. If you could get a decent inside linebacker for like your 4th round or 5th round pick, somebody who maybe could even be part of your team's future, I'm intrigued. Or if you want to trade like maybe your 3rd and your 4th for the big one, the Roquan Smith, I'm open to that as well. Again, not overextending myself right now. Now is not the time. But if you could get a real stud like a Roquan Smith, or even if it's somebody who's just a little bit better than Cody Barton, I'm game. Honestly, Ryan Neal is playing so good right now, I think maybe you wouldn't even have to worry that much about getting a safety. But maybe you do need that depth, because right now behind Neal and Diggs, you've got Josh Jones, who has already proven he's bad, Joey Blunt, who's a rookie, and Teez Tabor, who you picked up mid-season. So maybe you want to add a backup safety. Maybe you trade that 6th round pick to get somebody who's just playable. But there are a few areas this team could consider adding on a little bit at, and some of it can be done in free agency, just picking up guys. Some of it can be done via practice squad pickups. But you could stand to give up a little bit of an asset. I would be willing to put pretty much anything 3rd round on the table right now for the right trade. Emphasis on that, for the right trade. But just worthy of consideration on this Monday evening. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out. Go Hawks.